I'm not gonna lie. Where'd you go? Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm so proud of myself that I'm actually doing this again. Like, you don't even understand. So I asked you guys on Instagram if you would like to see another makeup video or a video about feminism, and you ask and I shall deliver. I was scrolling on TikTok and I came across this video. And as you can imagine, the comments were overwhelming. Let's check, as of this moment, how many views her video has. Oh yeah, don't think that this is Msas al-Khaliji or something. Like, it's not late at night and I have a full face of makeup on. No, I just came back from a abaya photo shoot. Guys, you heard it here first. They picked a Middle Eastern woman to model for our abaya business and not a white woman. Anyways, back to what I was saying. These are my late night thoughts like 2-3 weeks ago. So let's see how many views her video has as of today, which is the 30th of September. Holy shit. So I checked her video 2 days ago and it was at 6.1 million. And it's at 7.1 million. So this poor girl, as you can see from her comments, oh, I've got to log in. Are you serious? Okay. I'm gonna log in so I can just show you the comments. So you can get an idea, you know, of, you know, she literally had to like pin "not all girls" as a comment. I don't know, maybe people just don't like you personally because it's not hard to be friends with girls. People generally attract those similar to them. Men are just as messy. Ain't nobody arguing with that, honey. Like, so how did I end up on the wrong side of TikTok? Have you met men? Honey, did he at least pick you? Did he pick you? Came here from Twitter to see this toxic energy for myself, so I'm guessing she's getting hate on Twitter as well, this poor girl. To me, when I was reading the comments, I was getting a very white feminism vibe. They're not intersectional whatsoever, because if you genuinely wanted to educate her on her internalized misogyny, you would have to remove that very narrow lens you're using and analyze the situation with an intersectional feminist approach. If you do not know what intersectional feminism is, please check out my account, Nothing is Too Political, and this post breaks it down perfectly for you. At least I think it does. If it doesn't, leave a comment down below, educate me. So, as I was saying, you can't view women's struggles with a narrow lens. You have to consider their culture, the way they were taught, their religion, their individual experience as women, and many other factors. You need to have some global literacy, or else it's not a very constructive approach, especially when it comes to women of color and women with disabilities, for example. A UNDP study shows that the global literacy rate is as low as 1% for women with disabilities, and research shows that low literacy rates are often correlated with poor health outcomes, like, for example, behavioral issues. For children in school, a low literacy rate will make them feel so incompetent that they'll isolate themselves, they'll have low self-esteem, and lack of childhood literacy obviously has a negative impact on a person's adult life and impacts the way women with disabilities interact with people in society, and specifically women. We need to give each other some grace. And I would also like to add that just because you're a woman of color, that doesn't mean that you can't view women's struggles with a white feminist lens. If anything, women of color that are attached to their culture and religion, or grew up in a toxic, close-knit community, should know more than anyone how annoying whitewashed women of color act. And I'm not saying that every white woman is a white feminist before the crocodile tears start victimizing themselves in the comments. Like, white feminists need to understand and fully grasp the fact that other women around the world are struggling as well, and it might not be in the way that they could fully comprehend, because as much as they think that they're educated on women's struggles, they're not, because they're not being intersectional whatsoever. The culture women of color grow up in and the laws of the country affect the way they internalize their misogyny. You need to comprehend this. Let me give you some examples, okay? In Kuwait, activists are trying to abolish Article 153, which basically legalizes honor killing. And the article basically says that honor killings are a misdemeanor. And it carries a maximum sentence of, get this, 3 years. Yep, 3 years. Or, hold up. You could get a fine. Yep. You get a fine for killing your mother, your sister, your cousin, your grandmother. If you felt like she dishonored the family, you get a fine. And maximum 3 years in jail. Yeah. And despite the fact that 1/3 of Kuwaitis support legalizing physical violence against a woman caught in the act of adultery, exactly half of Kuwaitis agree with the statement that it's justified to use violence against a woman who has committed adultery. This survey gathered data on different characteristics and variations of why Kuwaitis support Article 153 to break it down. And as you can see, the factors captured in the survey include age, education, marital status, economic status, how religious they are, the tribe, geographical region of residence. That's why intersectionality is important within a country as well. Feminism is much more complex. It's not black and white. That's not how it works. So basically, as you can see, Kuwaiti women grow up in a society that tells them from a very young age, if they dishonor men, their death would be treated as a misdemeanor. Do you understand the psychological effects that has on young women, young girls, how they internalize their misogyny? It's basically a provision rooted in valuing honor over human rights. No doubt it'll have cultural impact on the way girls and women view themselves. It's basically the male gaze on steroids. Basically. Kuwait actually has another article that is very messed up. I think it's Article 182, which basically pardons rapists and perpetrators of sexual harassment if they marry their victims. Yeah, and do you think in a society that thinks honor is way more important than human life, do you think they'll give that girl a choice? Do you want to marry him? No. They'll be dishonored if she doesn't get married to her rapist. So you need to comprehend the full big picture. The struggle of Middle Eastern, South Asian, and African women. You know, I'm on a roll today, so I'll give you another example of the way the judicial system perpetuates misogyny against women and pits them against each other. That is the discriminatory nationality law that exists in 25 countries. 12 in the Middle East and North Africa, 6 in Asia and the Pacific, 6 in Sub-Saharan Africa, and 2 in the Americas. 25 countries view women as second-class citizens. I don't want to brag. But if I marry a foreign man, I can't pass down my nationality to my kids. I mean, I gotta brag. How can I not brag? How can I not feel special? I get special treatment. You know, that legislation created a culture that views me as a second-class citizen. How can I not feel special when that culture exasperates a sexist framework on what a woman's role in society and culture is? Oh my goodness. And it pits women against each other. Wow guys, just wow. Okay, let's be serious for a second. Discrimination between men and women is addressed in a number of international human rights treaties, like the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Another one is the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and these are just 2 examples that you could look up. And I also want to add this. Even when they do try to give us equality, it's not even done in a retroactive effect. So, for example, in some countries that did change their laws and women can now pass down their nationality to their kids, the women that had kids before the new legislation passed can't pass down their nationality to their kids. So It's like, if you're gonna legalize weed, do I have to say it? Do I have to say it? I guess I do. I guess I do. And it's basically the same thing that happened to the Saudi activist Lajane. She was advocating for women's right to drive in Saudi Arabia, got locked up. Women can drive, but she was still locked up. Don't get me started. Don't get me started on the judicial system of Saudi Arabia. Please. Not today. Not today, Satan. This table uses a color scheme to divide the laws of these 25 countries into 3 categories. As you can see in red, they have nationality laws that do not allow mothers to pass down their nationality to their children, with no or very limited exceptions. These laws create the greatest risk of statelessness. If you don't know what statelessness is, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and assume you heard about Shamima Begum. So what happened to her? Statelessness. And the laws of the second group of countries, which is orange, allow women to pass down their nationality in some circumstances. For example, if the father is unknown, or if he's stateless, or, you know, like sometimes it can happen on the low, you know, between people and the government. The third group, the laws of the third group, the one-third group, limits the way women can pass down their nationality, but it guarantees that statelessness will rarely arise. So, red, bad. Orange, yellow. Okay? Yeah. So, for example, Qatar, red, does not allow women to pass down their nationality whatsoever. Whatsoever. Even if this would result in statelessness. Lebanese women, on the other hand, can't pass down their nationality if the child is a bastard, you know, out of wedlock, or if the mother was a minor. Libya and Jordan only allow women to pass down their nationality if the child was born in the territory, like in Libya or Jordan, you know? And then after that, you have even more like restrictions and rules and stuff that, you know, you have to pass to prove that your womb can create a citizen. As you can see, there are levels to our oppression. And me telling you this isn't meant to minimize anyone's struggle. This isn't a competition. We just need to reach a level of understanding if we actually want all women to succeed. I thought to myself, let's tackle this video from a constructive intersectional approach, because if I'm being honest, that's the only way you can show women that we're all actually just victims of the patriarchy. So before I even get into analyzing the video, I'm just wondering if she's the type of girl that just straight up refuses to be friends with girls, or if she tries to and then that doesn't work out. Because I feel like that's a very important distinction. As I said, I can't judge the way she internalized her misogyny because I don't know her personally. I don't know her struggles as a woman. So I can't have a say in the way she internalized her misogyny. And that's the point of this video. And that's why the comments are like annoying. The way she internalized her misogyny is not harmful to anyone but herself. She's not saying it's okay to go rape women, you know, like, okay, I get it if you were attacking someone like that. Yeah, that's pick me. We're just gonna use her video as a template because of where she comes from and because of the captions she wrote. Just so I could explain to you our struggles. As a Middle Eastern and African woman, I can't help but feel bad for women that suffer with internalized misogyny. And because I've been surrounded by a lot of South Asians and East and West Africans, I've gathered that it's concurrent in their culture as well. I understand on a personal level how the patriarchy breaks women to the extent that they internalize the self-hatred so much that they think it's empowering sometimes. And again, I'm not saying this applies to her. We're just using her video as a template. And I'm just analyzing the situation with the knowledge I have. So from what I gather, her name is Siham and she is Moroccan. And it honestly doesn't matter if she's Muslim or not because Islam isn't the issue here, it's culture. So before I get into it, for you to understand some of her captions, you need to know that in this side of the world, girls having guy friends is frowned upon. Some people don't get married because of it. You know, like honor killings. loss of whatever crumble of independence you had, you know, the whole misogynistic fiasco. Like, yeah, we're pretty backwards. And sadly, because life is very hard for girls here, a lot of them do view marriage as a way out of living in a toxic environment, living with their abusive or controlling parents. That causes them to seek male validation way too much. I actually have a TikTok about this. You can go check it out. So this created a culture where, unfortunately, women talk shit to ruin your reputation, which, as we said, is a big deal to Middle Easterns, Africans, and Asians. I know the Middle East is in Asia, but I'm choosing to separate Middle East and Asia because their struggles are similar but different. That's what intersectionality is about. Focus. Just please focus. Remove white feminist glass. Throw off. Okay, please throw off. So unfortunately, it is a competition for some women because, as we said, they want to escape. And whether this is, for example, stealing another woman's artwork and profiting off of it because you need the financial gains. And this is just one example. The competition between these women manifested in almost all areas of their lives. And some Middle Eastern, African, and South Asian women internalize this so much that they actually genuinely do not see how they're harming other women. It's like they're in survival mode, if that makes sense. And in this side of the world, they also tell you not to tell anyone any good news because they assume everyone is going to give you the evil eye, or they'll talk shit behind your back. And I find that very ironic because they build up all these barriers to protect themselves, but then they turn around and do the exact same thing they're protecting themselves from to other women. But that in itself should shed light on the way they internalize their misogyny. It should show you that they're actually just projecting the misogyny they've internalized. And let's be real. Okay, let's be real for a second. Older generations in our region are very toxic. Very toxic. The way women are oppressed, a lot of them developed interpersonal relationships, and gossiping got them through it. Gossiping got them through their day. This girl actually has a very good YouTube video about it. I'm going to link the key card up here. I don't remember her name, but she basically breaks down how and why some women in oppressive societies resort to gossiping. And in no way am I condoning gossiping. Trust me, I am the last person. I can't help but understand the frustration they must have felt being oppressed and why they resorted to that as a coping mechanism, and how that trickled down into the way they raised, you know, our mothers, our grandmothers, and blah, blah, blah. So the question begs itself, honestly. Is anyone actively attempting to break the generational trauma that is rooted in gossiping, or are you just hating on women? Because I've noticed that this is a trend. Like, even with men on TikTok, they'll just put on a towel on their head, think that makes them a woman, and then just mock things that we do. You're basically mocking women for existing.
I don't want to be your friend. I don't want to be anything like you. You probably listen to Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo.
The pick-me-girl phenomenon was created by women who wanted a way to escape misogyny. They decided to distance themselves from women and womanhood by acting the way they thought women don't act. When a pick-me-girl says she's not like other girls, what she really means is, I don't want to be treated like other girls. The pick-me-girl directly comes from women trying to escape misogyny. But it never works, because clearly, no matter how a woman acts, she will always be the butt of the joke, she will always be mocked, even if she's acting in a way that she thinks will help her escape from misogyny. The truth is, society just likes ridiculing women no matter how they act.
When you break it down like that and understand the mental distress the patriarchy inflicts onto women, you'll actually understand that every single woman is a victim to the culture the patriarchy thrives off of. Women will always suffer as long as the system is designed in a way that pits us against each other from a very young age. Women need to live in a world without impunity for misogyny. But they also need to live in a world where victims of the patriarchy can support each other in order to live free from stigma and re-victimization. Well, my throat is dry. I feel like I just went off on a rant, but that was very therapeutic. So, in conclusion, Is your feminism fighting for the victim or not? Because from where I'm sitting, it doesn't seem like it is. It's not intersectional whatsoever. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content of this video, I think you would enjoy the content that I post on Instagram stories specifically, and you should actually check out my highlights. I have like, I don't know, like 22 or 23, like so many, but they're worth it. Trust me, they're worth it. Please take time out of your day to go through them. And if you enjoyed the content of this video, I think you might enjoy my TikTok as well, so check it out. Please don't forget to like and hit the bell notification button so you're notified when I post again, inshallah. And leave a comment down below on what your thoughts are. Are they pick-me's or just victims of the patriarchy? Because I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say, because you guys sat here and like heard me. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week, inshallah.